time in the 2020s, two geeks from across social media formed an alliance to bring you geek news from across the Nostalgiaverse. They are Jacob's Toys and SuperSorrell. So strap yourselves in for the weekly live show that brings you toy news, TV and movie reviews, special guests, opinions, tangents, and bad impressions. Reveals, releases, thoughts, and maybe dreams. So prepare yourselves for the Geek Week in Review. Live.
Oh, and welcome again to the Geek Week with me, Jacob's Toys, and of course, the wonderful one and only SuperSorrell. Episode 140 this week. I did get that number right, didn't I?
Yeah. I think we've been saying episode 140 for the past 3 weeks.
Have we? I'm sure it's 140. How you doing, Ash? You good this week?
Yes, mate. You?
Yeah, not too bad. It's been a fun week this week. I've had lots of toys to play with, but we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Yeah.
Hello to everyone in the chat, in the comments. Do comment along as always, and we'll get to you when we can. And if you are watching it on repeat, Sorrel, what's the
Hashtag catch up crew.
And catch up crew. Jenko T's in the chat already saying he's not going to be able to watch live tonight because he's up at 5, but he will hashtag catch up crew when he can. Have a good one. Thanks, Jenko. We'll speak to you very soon. We've got a guest this week. Delayed from last week. They were supposed to join us last week, but life happens and stuff. But very pleased to say that they're able to join us this week. It, of course, is Kibbs from the Brothers Geek Out podcast. I've been chatting to him for well over a year now, probably about a year and a half over on TikTok. So I'm really, really pleased to be able to introduce him. So without further ado, let's bring Kibbs in. How are we doing, Kibbs?
I'm good, guys. How are you guys doing today?
We're all right. It's been okay. How you feeling this week, Belle?
Yeah, real good. It's been busy. It's always been busy. I'm always keeping myself busy, but I think last week I caught what the kids has got, and it just caught up with me, and I don't usually stop working, so that was the first time in probably about a year that I actually took some time out and just kind of relax. And we need that time to time. I'm an advocate for men's mental health and how much we take on as dads. So the wife said, take the time off, relax, get better 100%. And I'm back at it again. So it's been good. It's been good.
Speaking of which, let's just jump straight into it. You had a panel at MCM, didn't you, recently?
Yes, I did. Yeah, man. Yes, I did.
You've done loads. I'm hats off to you. You've really kind of hit a few milestones. But I did see that you had a panel at MCM back in, when was it? March?
It was October last year. I think it was October, end of October. Yeah, so it was Birmingham NEC. I love MCM Comic Con. I've been going for almost 13 years. I started off when they had a little store. They had I think it was in Houston in a hotel. They had their conference room with all the comic books and everything like that. And it's grown into it's massive now because the fandom has grown. We're more mainstream now, which is absolutely amazing. Yeah. And I got offered to do a panel about mental health in comic books, TVs, and movies. And
that's wicked.
Since I've been running the podcast, it's always been about our mental health, but it's pop culture that kind of helped me grow up in a sense where I'm coming from the working class background where mum and dad both worked, and all we saw was TV and Saturday morning cartoons, and it got us into collecting. It got us into the pop culture world, and it was nice to talk about how it's represented in comic books and movies and TV shows.
Yeah, that's wicked. That's really cool. I mean, that's awesome to be able to kind of tick a box and do something like a panel at a Comic Con, especially MCM, and also do it for a reason that you strongly believe in. So yeah, hats off to you, man. We will talk about some of the stuff that you've done, because obviously you've done quite a bit. As you say, you've been running your Brothers Geek Out podcast with your brother for a long time now, haven't you?
Yes, 8 years now. Yeah,
8 years, man. So it's me and Sorrel. We're on 3 years, and we're man, this has been ages. And then someone Kibbs comes on and goes boys.
I think we're hitting too close to 600 episodes. So when you said 140, you guys should be so proud that you've kept it up. It's an amazing thing, and I know sometimes it gets hard to keep going. It's amazing that when you see that 140, that's a lot of hours. So be proud, guys. It's absolutely amazing.
I joke sometimes. I think I spend more time talking to Sorrel in a week than I do my wife sometimes. Especially because we do plus episodes as well. So if we have a particular guest from the States, whatever, that can't make it, on our regular week, or if something particularly big happens, like a movie drops or a trailer drops or something, we do like a plus episode. So it's 140 standard episodes, but with all the plus episodes as well, it's quite a bit. We're racking we're catching up. We're catching up slowly.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Keep up the good work, guys.
No, I appreciate it, and yourself too. Sorry, which way we want to go this week? Because obviously we talk toys, we talk movies.
Did you get any pickups this week?
Yeah, I got some pickups. I got some good pickups this week. All right, so mine are quite varied, right? So I got something for my kids, which is a new hookup that, I mean, we've spoke about it, but I'm going to talk show, which is a new hookup, new partnership that I'm hoping is going to continue to grow. I got a grail of mine, which is something that's very rare nowadays. And I got a little Diamond Select package as well. So I do my Diamond Select one first because they're like obvious.
Yeah.
Got these.
Yes.
Finally sent these ones out. Now I was a bit annoyed because I've got the whole set. Diamond Select have been very kind to me. And Sorrell got these like about 2 weeks ago.
I'd say they're eager, yeah.
And I was like, where are my boys? Like, where are they? But they're beautiful figures. They really are cool. The one for my kids was a link with Playmobil this week. So I got sent a box of the new Playmobil pirate stuff for me and my 5-year-old to review. And we've opened it up, we've reviewed it, we filmed it all. I'm just busy editing it now because it was
one hell of a box though they sent you, wasn't it? It was about 4 or 5 sets.
Yeah, 4 sets. So they've launched a new wave of toys. So, you know, like Playmobil, they do like all the kind of similar to Lego. They do all the subs, like the cities, the pirates, all the rest of it, and then they do all the pop culture stuff as well. I kind of got my son's 5 now, my youngest boy, and I kind of got him into Playmobil via the Ghostbusters stuff. So I'd got all of that for my oldest son when he was a little bit younger. It was one of them ones where, you know, what does Josh want for his birthday? And I was like, well, all of the Playmobil Lego, all of the Playmobil Ghostbusters stuff, obviously. So I bought him all of it, and then gave it down to Miles as well, my youngest son. And Playmobil have just launched a new Pirates versus the Deeper, it's called. And it's basically pirates versus like sea monsters. Yeah. So there's like he looks a bit like Ursula from Little Mermaid. Like he's got the kind of like octopus legs and stuff. And then there's a ship, there's a big kraken that you can kind of put in the bath and fill up, and like there's a little pump on it and it squirts water and stuff. But it's wicked, absolutely wicked. Our boy Miles was made up because the main pirate is called Miles. He was like, well, that's why they sent it. That's why they've sent it to me. And I was like, no, I don't know. But
yeah, the one thing they didn't send you there, because you're only missing like 1 set from the whole thing now.
Am I?
Like you're only missing 1 set from the whole wave, and it was the ghost ship version of the pirate ship. So it's got translucent figures, and they look friggin' awesome.
On the back of the box, I didn't see that one. It only had the 4.
It was in my Smith today because I saw it. I was like, "Oh, that is amazing!" And it was only like 40 quid. So I mean, compared to Lego, the price is very reasonable for Playmobil.
Yeah, expensive. And I'll do it in my review. Like you'll see it in my review, because I was a bit taken back because a couple of these like Playmobil characters are like jacked. Like they've got like definition in their arms, and I was like, I don't remember that in Playmobil. Like I remember Playmobil being like just flat. And so I'm doing it with him, and I was like, this guy's jacked. But anyway, so that was a lot of fun. So that was really cool. And the guys over at Playmobil were really kind, and they actually put mine and my son's name on the envelope, like on the box. Nice. Because when they said who to send it out to, I said I'll whack his name on it because he'll love it. So when it turned up and it said to Jacob and Miles, he was like, I'm a YouTuber. Like, chill out, boy. But then my grail piece. Now this is for a lot of people, it probably isn't going to be much, right? But back in the day when Nick Cage did his Ghost Rider film, there was the bike set. This one here. Right? Oh. And I had it on release, right? And it was, I don't even know. I think it was Toy Biz. I think. But it scales with the Legends figures. That's all I cared about. Like it scales with Marvel Legends, and it's just a really cool like version of the Ghost Rider bike. And usually it goes for ridiculous money. But obviously I've got my whole little Ghost Rider set up there. I love Ghost Rider, and I've got my custom Nick Cage with RDJ Custom Creations, give me the half and half head and everything. I was like, I have to get hold of the bike. I have to get hold of it. And I managed to pick it up on one of the groups. And the thing that really got me was, I mean, this thing came out when Nick Cage's film came out. So that's what? 10
You're
years?
looking at, I think, 15.
15
Even, yeah.
years?
It's
All
a
right,
lot.
Yeah.
came out 15 years ago. And I was like, I remember it did something. Look. And it's still
Oh my
Look,
That's nice.
hear it. I was like, no way. So that is going to go up in my Ghost Rider display. But I was well happy when I received that. But that was it. That was it really this week. So yeah, I don't care too much for the figure. The figure's dated. It's old. It's got them horrible ball joints. So I mean, it's still a cool figure, but I'll probably give that to one of my boys. What about yourself, Sorrel? What did you get?
Well, as you say, our friends over at Diamond Select do send some great things over. And I can't lie, the metallic version of the Iron Giant. It's the metallic version, so it shines really well. And the fact that this one comes with the light up eyes as well. So
That's nice.
It gives him a bit of life on on the photos and stuff. Because they're like
awesome.
normally just like that, which is like kind of dead eyes, but when you light him up, it does look good.
That is
So,
awesome.
That's a nice piece.
yeah.
That is really awesome.
That is a cool piece.
You know, last week we were on about the Green Ranger, the Super 7 Green Ranger, and
Yeah.
you're about looking to buy one, maybe.
Yeah.
Don't bother.
Oh really?
It's all right. It's not the best thing in the world. This head's the best thing about the damn thing, but you know, compared to the Hasbro ones are much more articulated, and this is very, very basic for the price, to be honest.
It looks a little bit reminiscent of the older.
It is.
Right.
It's very much. You can take this off, and there's like a big gold one you can put on, which is like the one you got back in the day. So it's all right, but I mean, for 40 odd quid, I won't bother.
Oh,
I've lost this
okay.
helmet. I've just dropped it. It's flown somewhere.
Right.
DVDs wise this week, Blu-ray. I got the Thanksgiving Blu-ray.
Nice.
But
Nice.
the thing
Northern Nomad in the chat said, I watched that last night. It was good.
Amazing movie. I love that movie. But the people over at Asmodee sent over the brand new Star Wars Unlimited game. So this is the new trading card game. So obviously I've been in it already. But my video comes out on Friday on the official release date of this because I've got this like a week early. And yeah, it's a great game. Me and my brother played about 3 games of this last night. It was amazing. I can't wait for because like you get Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader as your 2 heroes for this particular starter set, but you can get like Hera and the Mandalorians in there, and there's so many other like heroes you can play as, and you have like a hero in a base, and you've got to defend your base, and it's really cool. It's a good game.
Oh, wicked.
What happened to that stupid head? Where did that go? There it
What
is.
about yourself, Gibbs? Did you get anything this week? Comics, toys, anything?
No, I didn't. I actually pre-ordered the Diamond Select Flux capacitor, so they've re-released it again. So it's like they bought it out, I think, just before the 30th anniversary of Back to the Future. So I'm a massive Back to the Future fan. So when it comes to anything Back to the Future, I want it. So I placed that on pre-order, and that's it, really. Yeah, usually it's my weekly comic books and like Blu-rays as well, which I pre-order as well. But that the flux capacitor is something that I've been waiting for a long time, because when I bought it almost 10 years ago, where I bought it from the States, when it came through, it cracked the screen.
Oh man.
And I replaced it with a Perspex on it after, but then it was like, oh, it's not the original piece. I was really gutted because it has the little laminated stickers on there, which cracked with it as well. So I'm looking forward to getting this. I want to see if it's going to be similar quality, because the one they bought out 10 years ago was like, it was really heavy. It was like, it felt like it was part of the car. That's how heavy it was. But I'm a Hot Toys collector, so that's my that's where my go-to. So when my brother moved to Hong Kong 10 years ago, and he told me that Secret Base was there, I remember catching the next flight. I think it was like a month after, to go there, and I was like, I've seen pictures of this place, but I didn't know it was based in Hong Kong. Got there, and then I've been with them ever since. To be honest, it's like my collection is like the Iron Man collection. So
nice.
I think I'm racking up 85 Iron Mans, which are neatly placed in the loft, because recently my daughter had taken over the collector's room. So, so my next project is buy a bigger house.
Yeah. That's good, man. That's good. And yeah, I'm the same. I got into Hot Toys like mid last year. It was always kind of like it was for me. It was always a 6-inch, and I picked up the Zombie Man from the what is it? No Way Home? No, not No Way Home. Far From Home. No,
Far From Home, yeah.
Far From
No, is
Home.
it?
Yeah,
Homecoming, Far From Home. Yeah, you're right.
yeah. So it's the zombie. It features in the film for like minutes, but
Yep.
it's such a good. And I said to Sorrell, as soon as I got it in hand, I did it as a collab with a retailer called Zombie, and as soon as I got it in hand, I was like, "This is insane! Like this." Get rid of all my 6-inch figures, like, clear the space, and I'm now up to like 30 figures. I think 30 Hot Toy figures. Going for third-party brands. Like I'm like, yeah, I love this, I love that. So yeah, it's good. It is good. And I think the only one that I'm waiting on being delivered, ironically, is Ghost Rider at the moment. Nick Cage's Ghost Rider.
Yes, that's right. Yep.
So by I think it's either by So or Present, but one of those smaller companies. But yeah, I love them. I absolutely love them. So I'm a big. But then since clearing out a lot of my Marvel Legends, I've opened up for other brands. I've got like the Amber collection. I've got like the new Street Fighters. I've got Power Rangers again. The Turtles. Like it's just throwing them up there. Back to the nostalgia. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Northern Nomad in the comments again said 2007. So I'm guessing that's what he's referring to.
Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
Nick Cage, 2007.
Funny you guys mentioned Blu-ray because I don't collect Blu-rays anymore or DVDs. Like I kind of gave up on that and went for the streaming option. Like don't hate, but I was kind of like, you know what? I had so many. I was like,
no space.
Something needs to give. But I was reading an article about 28 Days Later. Have you seen this? The whole conversation about 28 Days Later, because it's not available anywhere, is it, on streaming?
No.
And the DVD and Blu-ray, the price is skyrocketing. Like so, yes, if you've got that in your collection, that's like, you know, that might contribute to that new house. Just go down the street and like, I got it. But yeah, but it's obviously because they've announced the third one, haven't they? So
that's
28
right.
years later. And I think it's a really smart move to kind of not have it on a streaming service, and it's kind of made that physical media valuable again as such. Like, not saying it's lost its value, but everyone's talking about it. So yeah,
I've got both. I've got both films on DVD. I got the Blu-ray. I've got both on DVD. Yeah.
I think they go for a decent amount.
Yeah. Thing is though, I don't keep. I'm a bugger me. I don't keep boxes. I'm a bag and tag kind of guy.
Bad guy. Yeah, that's when we bought this place, I made like sections for like my DVDs and Blu-rays, which ended up again back in the loft again because it just took up too much space. But something about physical media that still draws me to it. Like when it comes to collecting and having, they have this, I don't know, this tangible feeling to it. So
yeah.
It makes me walk up to the DVD player to put something on, that excitement to go put something on, where I stream still, but the physical copy is like, I need that in my life.
Yeah.
I'll watch certain films time and time again. And the thing is, like, I'm a sucker for, I love the stupid Annabelle Comes Home movie. It's my favorite. It's stupid and I love it. It's like a Scooby-Doo franchise movie. And I love the fact that like they keep taking it off of streaming. Like it'll be on streaming every now and again, and they keep taking it away. So that annoys the crap out of me. I'm like, I've got the physical media disc. I can go and watch that whenever I want. But yeah, I'll watch films time and time and time again. So I have to have a physical copy of them because I can't rely on streaming services to keep them on.
No, I'm with you on that. Like I used to have a massive one when me and my wife first got together. Like either side of my television were kind of 2 meter high, wide, like 2 meter by 2 meter kind of shelves either side. It was like a library, and it was just all DVDs, and I had them all kind of really kind of OCD, like all of the films together and the related films on the same shelf and everything like that. And then I'd get really frustrated because they'd bring out like a 30th anniversary version or something, and I'd be like, well, that doesn't fit now with. And I kind of tried to own all the superhero films, and then I was like, this one doesn't match this one, and now I need to rebuy this one, and it got too much. I've still got a few.
Zavi messed up and they started doing the steel books, which is cane in my wallet at the moment because the art covers I love completely.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to get it. So I ended up making a decision so that I only did superhero movies in the steelbook collection, and didn't do my whole collection because I think Blade Runner is
Yeah.
the one that I've got the most of, including VHS, laser CD, even on video CD. I've probably got like 20 copies of that movie, but the director's cut and the narrated version, and it's one of those collections that even if I see something pop up with Blade Runner, I'm like, okay, I'll have to get that one as well now. So
That's cool. See, I was the same. I was like, I'm just going to collect a certain genre, and then it was like, oh, but I really like that film, and like, well, I've got Terminator 1, so I need to get all of the Terminators, even though like some of them weren't great. And I did the same with like Aliens. I was like, I had Aliens, and I was like, do I have to buy Aliens versus Predator? Like, of course I do. It needs to be on there, otherwise, like, who am I? And speaking of streaming and speaking of Annabelle, I love being able to segue stuff, right? I watched Shazam! Fury of the Gods for the first time this week, right? I know you're a DC guy, Kib, so I'm sorry, man, but it took me this long to watch it, right? But I think the reason being is that there was a lot of hate around it. So I was kind of like, I don't want to watch it and buy into the hate. I just want to watch it and enjoy it for what it was. But Annabelle's in it. Did you know? Isn't she? Like, there's this part, there's this part where Shazam's at like the child therapist, and he's laying on the couch, and the therapist kind of says to him, like, I'm a pediatrician, and he kind of points at the toys, and it pans round, and there's all these toys out, and Annabelle was sat at the table. And I was like, Annabelle, like
the movie Annabelle, or like the Raggedy Ann?
No, the movie Annabelle.
The movie Annabelle.
He's just sat there at the table. But I loved it. I'm not going to lie. Like, I thought it was a brilliant film, an absolutely brilliant film. And then I did get a bit disappointed when old Gal Gadot came out, and it was kind of like, that's it. That's kind of her last kind of appearance as far as we know. And I was like, man, that sucks. But I really enjoyed it for what it was. It was just a fun smash 'em up monster, you know, superheroes and all the rest of it. So I enjoyed it.
Sorry.
I was going to say, James is clearly going for a younger version of all the characters, so I doubt he'll recast it, which is a shame because she's a perfect Wonder Woman, isn't she? Gal Gadot.
Oh yes, definitely. Just double check wifey's not there. No, definitely. I mean, listen, it's a great fun movie. I think what David did, who did direct Annabelle, and he's a horror director, so he brought that element to it. But I think we're at a stage now where I personally think, as much as I love the comic book genre, that we're oversaturated with it. But we're at a time now with social media and everybody being a critique and all the rest of it, and people have forgotten how to have fun at the films, at the movies.
Oh, I know.
And I think that's where it kind of hits home. And it's hard to say negativity kind of pushes forward. So if somebody's going to bad rap something, that's going to push forward more than what people actually genuinely think. Where I'm your everyday moviegoer. I mean, I love movies. So if it took me away for 2 hours from this crazy world we live in, then I had a blast with that movie. It was absolutely awesome. Yeah.
I personally find it really difficult to not enjoy a superhero film. Like, that's because of, you know, we're all of a similar age. Back in the day when reading comic books, there wasn't the toys, there wasn't the films, there wasn't, you know, the as many animations and stuff. It was really few and far between. So to be living in a day and age where, okay, yes, it is oversaturated, like there is sort of too much at the moment, but to be living in a day and age where you've only literally got to wait like a calendar month until something new's out, it's insane. So every superhero film, I'm kind of like, you know, Madam Web, for example, was not the greatest at all, but I could still enjoy it for what it was. I'd probably still rewatch it at some point and, you know, whatever. But I just think back to, again, I'll put it back to Nick Cage's Ghost Rider. If that came out now, it would tank. Absolutely tank, because it wasn't very comic book accurate. Nick Cage wasn't right for the part at all. He just was Nick Cage on fire. Like, it would tank. Whereas when it came out, everyone was like, oh, look, we got Ghost Rider. This is, and I kind of liken that to Morbius, the Morbius film we got.
Yeah.
If that had come out in the early 2000s, I think everyone would have gone mad for it. Whereas obviously coming out now, people were a lot more like critical.
I honestly didn't mind Morbius. I honestly didn't mind it.
Nor did I.
It was an alright movie.
Yes.
For me, it was actually Jacob knows I've got a massive connection to Morbius. He's one of my favorite Marvel characters. So just to have the Morbius movie was enough for me. Just to have him on the screen.
Yeah.
I think people have forgotten because we appreciate it.
Mm.
Like I get to see my characters on the big screen. Maybe not screen accurate to what adapting from a comic book, but like I don't say this to many people, but is the MCU the first phase I didn't really enjoy.
Mm.
So because it wasn't comic book accurate, so I was always going from the comic books. But as I got more into the movies, I realized what they did, and I was like, oh my god, they've created their own universe, and I've got to accept the fact that when you're adapting something from a book or a comic book to a screen presence, it's not going to be exactly the same. Some things are not going to interpret well, and that's when I fell in love with the MCU. It was phase 2, and I was like, oh my god. It was Avengers movie. And I was like, oh my God, they've actually done this really well, like planned it together. So, but we don't appreciate it. I think society now, the way we see things now is that we are flooded with so much content now. So it's so hard to pick out what am I going to watch and what am I going to enjoy. Where when we grew up in the 80s and 90s, those movies are stuck with me.
Yeah.
And I still enjoyed them. I mean, I watched The Golden Child the other day and I was like, this movie is brilliant. And it's still, the jokes still land. I repeat every line. My wife hates it because I'm like repeating everything. And she was like, why do you keep watching this movie? And I was like, I don't know. It's movies like Big Trouble in Little China and Back to the Future still hold this dearness to me, which I still get out of cinema now. But a lot of people just don't like to travel to that world anymore.
Mm.
Yeah.
100%.
No, I totally agree with you on that. Go on, Sorrel.
I was gonna say, and speaking of movies that got unnecessarily amount of hate this week, Jacob, throw that picture up.
The Crow.
Bill Skarsgård's The Crow. Do you know what? I'm not hating on it. Wait until we've at least got a trailer. At least, come on, people. They've gone off one image and already gone. He's not mine. He's not my Crow. I'm like, people are basing it on the '90s version of the movie as well.
They are.
I think
they are.
The sad thing is that there was too many comparisons made to Suicide Squad, Jared Leto's Joker, because it's tattooed up, buff, and all the rest of it. I don't think it helps that his name leaves me at the moment, but the director of the original one posted
David
like a tweet,
oh yes,
tweeted out saying something like, oh, he's a badass, he's not my Eric Draven or something like that. I don't think that helped it. But like The Crow again is another property that I absolutely love, love it. And yes, the early 90s film is iconic. It's a cult film now, so it'll be hard to kind of compare, but I think you need to look at this as a reimagining, as a new version of 100%. A story. Like I think it'll be cool. I'm looking forward to it.
Just Bill Skarsgård is just a very talented character actor as well.
Very.
So, I can't wait to see what he does with it. So, like when we had those scenes from the original film, if they are going to go down the kind of reimagining route, like when like the guy shoots a hole through the Crow's hand and he does that whole laughing bit, and imagine what Bill Skarsgård can do with that. You know what I mean? He's got much more range than Brandon Lee probably ever had. You know what I mean? It's like I'm just waiting to see what he does with some of those like mad scenes where he's kind of realizing his own immortality and that he can deal with a lot more damage, and how he's gonna be the Crow kind of thing. Like there's the mad side of it.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be cool. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it.
Like
me too. I'm interested to see what they do. I mean, we get it in comic books where different writers, different artists take on the same character like Batman, and somebody would rewrite it in a different format. I mean, Frank Miller did it, and made Batman more mainstream and more kind of in time in the late 80s. So I'm interested to see what they do. I think Bill is an amazing actor, so I think he'll bring his A game. But
sorry, go on.
I think people quick to jump to decisions quickly, and as you know, we're so instant now with social media. Yeah, it's the thing that's going to go forward. But Bill's amazing, I think.
It's the same as Nolan's. Go on. Sorry, I'm cutting you off.
I was just going to say that like when they originally had Jason Momoa attached to it, we had this conversation before. It's like, to me, he would have been a cool version of the character, but Jason Momoa doesn't need saving. He's a buff dude that looks like he could rip people's heads off. He's not a guy that's going to get thrown out of a window. You know what I mean? He's not a guy in distress. Bill Skarsgård's a young, skinny little guy. You know what I mean? He's not a big buff dude. It's like you can see him being the downtrodden kind of, you know, guy that's going to get murdered, and he fits that kind of role. And he's a bit odd and a bit weird looking, and he's got the look. I think he's going to play a great role, to be honest.
Yeah. I think for me, the thing with the Crow is that the person, like summarizing what you're saying there, is that the person that becomes the Crow needs to be vulnerable. They need to have a vulnerability to them, so that they, like you say, they look like they could be like jumped, that they look like they couldn't defend themselves. It can't be a Hollywood hero looking guy, because it just doesn't work, because that kind of transition into the Crow, like you say, it's the immortality element, and it's the what they can do with this newfound kind of power, and you know, and that's what makes the Crow story so appealing. But I think when it comes to rebranding things and kind of going for new directions, like we were saying, if you think back to Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy, that was a completely different Batman than we had in any way, shape, or form. Like they made him cool. Like, I'm sorry, like I'm not Batman before was very comical, very comedic, very you know, they made Batman cool, and that's what everyone knows now. That's what that you kind of your Joe Blogs, your mainstream person thinks of Batman. They think of him armored up, Christian Bale, I'm Batman. Like it's that.
I remember being in the cinema watching Batman Begins, and when he did that voice for the first time, when he's got that guy on the edge of the building, and he does the voice for the first time, I remember actually laughing out loud and going, what was that? He's got that guy who's like, it's like, where are they hiding? It's like, whoa, right, dude, calm yourself.
Yeah, but it is, isn't it? It's just that rebrand. Yeah, but it's college humor, wasn't it? Did like the whole skit, didn't they? That's that. I still watch that now. But all right, Joby one in the comments said Batman the animated series made Batman cool. All right, yeah, okay, I agree with you. I'll take that back. But if we're just talking movies, like if we're talking physical acting, like it was all very comical. Even the Tim Burton films, right through to the bat nipples on Val Kilmer. No, it was George Clooney bat nipples, wasn't it?
Yeah, George Clooney, the bat nip.
All of that beforehand made him quite comical, whereas Nolan made him cool. So you've kind of got to give these redirected, like re-envisioned kind of things a chance, because they might be the next big thing. So let's not jump on the hate straight away.
No, definitely.
Yeah. Northern Nomad said nothing beats Batfleck asking every Superman, tell me, do you bleed?
But that was the thing as well. When they first announced that he was taking over as Batman, Batfleck, everyone was so against that when it first got announced, and then he ended up being a lot of people's favorites.
I wasn't. Go back on my Facebook posts, right? And I still got it on my Facebook. I was like, I'm saying it now. Best Batman to date. I'm calling it now. This is the best Batman, and I still stand true to that. I liked Ben Affleck's Batman.
He was good. He was
Lego
good.
Batman. Lego Batman all the way.
Lego Batman is there.
I don't want to be alone.
For me, the big thing, like with Batman, for example, like with a lot of these characters, their alter ego, their other side, like it has to be like equally matched. Like they have to be as cool as Bruce Wayne as they are Batman. You know, like the Peter Parker has to match Spider-Man, like all that kind of stuff. And I think Ben Affleck for me was a real Bruce Wayne, like that. I'm going on a tangent, but that's me. But that's
No, he did. I feel like he didn't get enough screen time as well. I think the only time he did was in The Flash, when he had that 1-to-1 with Barry, and he was telling him. I felt like, we need more of this Bruce, and we didn't get that in other movies because they went so action heavy on everything. But you know, the physicality, the look of it, he had a charm to him. Christian Bale's still my favorite, but I feel like Ben brought the comic book Batman to me.
Go on then. So that's one for Ben Affleck, one for Christian Bale. Where are you, Sorrell? Come on, who's your favorite? You say like George Clooney or something.
No, I was gonna say, because it's weird, because that's the thing. It's weird because like, if you're talking about a Bruce Wayne, I thought George Clooney played one of the best Bruce Waynes because he's a suave, middle-aged guy. I think he plays a very good, eligible bachelor type, but he was just crap as Batman. But no, my favorite Batman was always Keaton's. Always will be.
No,
I'm a big nerd for Keaton.
I'll give you
Keaton.
Keaton. I'll give you that one.
Those are the two films I grew up on.
What are both your thoughts on the new kind of James Gunn DC universe? Because we haven't really spoke about that a huge amount, have we, Sorrell?
No. I'm excited to see what they do with it. It's going to be interesting. It's a new era, new time, new era. Let's see what he does.
Because they've obviously been dropping some production pictures, haven't they? Like we saw Superman released the other day. There's like been some selfies and stuff released that James Gunn doing the stuff. I think it'll be all right. I think
he's got good marketing skills. That's one thing. He's got good marketing skills. I
100%.
think he'll bring. He loves the genre. He loves comic books. I mean, look what he did with the Guardians. He introduced the Guardians to people that have never heard of them in the Marvel comic book, universe, and he brought these misfits to the screen, and everybody fell in love with them. I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I don't think I've cried that much in the cinema.
Yeah,
with what he did with these characters that are, it's insane. It's and even with his Suicide Squad, like what he brought to it. I mean, the respect he pays to the original writers and artists.
Yeah.
I think he'll do a great job. I did an interview with him. I think it was just before Peacemaker came out on Sky, and I messed up in the interview. I was still kind of shocked, and they didn't really cue me on time, and they were like, they did say, Kibler, you're going to be the first person, but I went completely silent because I was like, oh shit, I'm sorry. I was like, oh my god, I'm speaking to James Gunn here, and proper geek out moment. And we spoke about music. I love the choices of music that he picks. I'm a music man myself, but just his knowledge in the comic book world and what he can bring to the table is insane. So I'm hopeful to see what they do. DC needs some loving, as much as I still always show them love. I just feel like they had bad management in the background.
Yeah,
that's how I see it. WB, don't shoot me, but there was some bad management, some bad decisions in the background.
I totally agree, and I think if there's ever a time for them to step up, it's now. Like I think the game of chess is played very well. Like when the MCU was building up to Endgame and what was the other one? Why have I gone blank?
Infinity War and
Endgame. Wow, I actually forgot. Wow. I'm gonna have to go back and edit that part out. But yeah, Infinity War and Endgame, like when they were building up to that, there was no point in anyone trying to touch because every opinion was, oh well, it's not the MCU. Oh, you've not got this. You're not like. But now the MCU's kind of dropped off, and we're all kind of waiting for that, And with all the trouble they've had with like the Kang Dynasty and like everything's been very rocky. Like now is the time for the DC universe, or I can't remember what because it's not the DC.
Oh, DC Studios, DC Studios. They're going with.
Yeah. For them to come in now and give us something solid, they could kind of pick up that kind of top spot and give the superhero genre a bit of love. So I'm hopeful. I'm really hopeful. But then I was a massive fan of like Smallville and Arrow, like all of those shows. Like for me, I always said like DC was my TV and Marvel was my movies. Like that's how I kind of played it. And you look at the kind of the length of something like Smallville, the stories are there, like the characters are there, the audience is there, so they just need somebody to kind of do it the right way, and I think they'll do really well.
Exactly.
Definitely. I really do.
What do you think of Nicholas Hoult being cast as Lex?
I think it worked.
We'll have to wait and see. Definitely. You know what? James is good with casting.
Yeah, he'll always be the kid from Skins for me. He'll always be the kid from Skins, no matter what he's in. That's all I can picture him as.
Yeah, no, fair play. No, I think he'll be all right. I think given the even what's his name, Jesse Eisenberg did a semi decent Lex. Do you know what I mean? And no one said he could have done that, but I think he did it. Like I quite enjoyed his portrayal of Lex Luthor, but yeah,
he was Lex Junior though, wasn't he? He was definitely portraying Lex Junior.
Yeah. Definitely.
I honestly think that they need to do like if I was James Gunn, I would have gone like, right, scrap everything. Let's just come out hard and do Kingdom Come and just go in with Kingdom Come, like do it kind of comic book accurate, like because hear my thinking here, right?
Go
And
on.
for anyone that's not read Kingdom Come, it's a fantastic graphic novel. It's well worth reading. Alex Ross does all the artwork. It's like looking at a painting. It's a fantastic comic book. But it's based in the not too distant future where superheroes have overtaken and overshadowed kind of humanity, and they're just fighting and smashing and everything's being blown up. And then without giving too many spoilers away, they basically call back the Justice League. So you've got Batman in all of his kind of neck brace and stuff. You've got Superman on the farm with a big white beard, like just cutting wood and stuff. Like they bring back all these old superheroes who are old men and women now, and they kind of reform the Justice League, and they basically kind of give all these young whippersnappers a slap around the back of the ear and kind of level everything out. And I just thought, what a fantastic comic book to kind of illustrate the oversaturated kind of superhero market of films nowadays. Like it would work so well if they just came out with this film, everything's oversaturated. Here we go. But I've got a holdout. I hope.
Well, they've given him the crest, which is from that comic book. They haven't done the black behind of it, so
no.
It'd be interesting to see what he does. I know he's been sharing stuff like that online, so we could get kind of maybe a mixture, maybe like a back and forth story.
That could be fun.
Yeah,
that could be fun. Jumping over to Marvel though, let's talk Deadpool for a second because we're getting close to Deadpool now, aren't we?
Yeah.
We are getting close to Deadpool. What are your thoughts on it, Gibbs? Are you excited for Deadpool?
Oh, dude, so excited, so excited. I think though that Deadpool 1 and 2 are still some of my favorite movies from like in the past decade. Just to have this person breaking the fourth wall, and I don't know, he's just a fun part of Marvel. When that trailer came out with Wolverine, even though they didn't even show much, it was like the perfect teaser trailer. And I think moving forward, they shouldn't do any more trailers. They should just leave it there because we've got what 2 or 3 months away before it comes out.
Yeah, it's not long.
It's not that long. Yeah, it's not that long. But very excited to see what they've done, what they're looking to do. I've seen theories bounce around, and yeah, I'm super excited to see where they go with this. And Marvel need that a bit of lift at the moment because it's been up and down on their side. To be honest, I've enjoyed most of it still, regardless.
Yeah.
But there are some things I'd be like, they could have panned that out better. And I just felt like they haven't gone with the same system they originally did, where they had everything planned out. I feel like they're just throwing stuff out there because it was like, we got Disney Plus, so let's just keep pumping content. And, you know, people are not going cinema because we're paying £100 a year just to watch it on Disney Plus. So I'll wait the month or two when it comes out on streaming. So it's difficult to kind of vibe what people are looking to feel. And if you're not going to give me the same feeling you gave me with Endgame, which is with their pinnacle point, everything else kind of fell flat after that.
Yeah, that's what we've said, isn't it? So
I think this film's gonna have one hell of a cliffhanger.
Ooh,
I really do
yes,
think this is going to end on a massive note.
Definitely.
Really do.
Cliffhanger to what?
To Secret Wars. It's going to set Secret Wars up, this movie, 100%.
Yeah.
No, to show. Just because they've teased so much like that, like the comic book that's on the ground at the side of him. That comic book is the rise of Doctor Doom for Secret Wars and the death of Doctor Strange.
Yes.
So I mean, how big would it be if out the gate they introduce at the very end of the movie they introduce Doctor Doom and he kills Doctor Strange, and that's the comic book is the Easter egg that leads into that.
That'd be a power move.
That's what I mean. That would get your attention, though, wouldn't it? That would bring you back in because a big bad coming out of nowhere and killing a major character off. That's.
You know what I did read an article this week about like the contracts, like the X-Men actors' contracts, and there's all this talk about the MC, because obviously with the Fox buyout and everything, Disney now own Fantastic Four, X-Men, all the rest of it. And there's a lot of talk about they're waiting to build it up and all that kind of stuff. But supposedly there's something in the contracts for the actors and actresses and actresses that played the characters in the movies, that if they're to use those characters again, they have to use these actors, and there's a certain time period that they have to outlast, and that's why we've seen Patrick Stewart reprise his role every time they've needed a Professor X, not because they're trying to give us the nostalgia, just because legally they have to kind of go into, like, it's an obvious choice.
Oh, yes, that's right.
And I can't remember the exact details of the thing, but basically they can't even be looking to cast or recast these characters without first going down the line of using the actors that have played them previously, because of the contract that they had with Fox.
So we're getting a bunch of cameos in this movie, definitely, like a lot more than we think.
It would make sense. It would definitely make sense.
Well, we know like Jennifer Garner's 100% in this movie, but they've not shown an ounce of screen time of her. We've not even had a leaked image of what she looks like in the Electra suit nowadays. So I mean, there's a lot of it is being held very close to the chest. So there's going to be some cool scenes in it.
There's got to be some surprise cameos, because I think that the marketing for this film is very much that all the leaked stuff is very much, look at this, because we don't want you looking over here. So kind of like, we saw Sabretooth on set, we saw Wolverine long before he was announced and all that kind of stuff. And I think that was very clever, kind of, let's just drip this over here because we don't want to hunting out this over here. So I think there's going to be some really big cameos. And I don't think like Professor X as a cameo will be a pop. Like, we've seen him a few times now. I don't think that if he's not in it, I'd be surprised. Like, do you know what I mean? It has to almost be kind of Kelsey Grammer Beast at the end of Marvel's level of kind of, whoa, I didn't see that. So
that's right. That's right.
But
exactly.
I'm hoping for Channing Tatum as Gambit, because that was teased for so many years, wasn't it, that he was going to take over as Gambit? They've got to give him his 10 seconds of fame, haven't they?
They got to. He deserves it. He deserves it.
I always think of that massive like group shot they took. Do you remember when they announced like the Fox universe and they had all of the actors, and then Channing Tatum sat there in the Gambit shirt at the front, and every single one of them played the part they were meant to, except for him. And
I know.
Like, that would be cool, wouldn't it? That would.
It would be definitely. Definitely
I
would
could see
be.
him doing it as well. I could see him being down for it. Like, I don't know if he's got much links to Hugh Jackman or.
But if Marvel and Disney come knocking, most actors respond. You know what I mean? It's Marvel.
Yeah.
Everyone wants the 10 seconds of fame.
Exactly.
So, all right. So, if you could have three past like X-Men, Fox Universe characters show up in this, who would they be? You can only pick three. Or even just previous, like, pre-MCU characters. Put it that way.
Pre-MCU characters. Okay.
Nick Cage.
Yep.
He's got to turn up on the bike and stuff.
Yep. I would have Nick Cage.
Nick Cage, just because it's Deadpool, I think having what do you call him as Human Torch come back, just so they can make the reference of, it's Captain. No, it's not Captain America. You know what I mean? Just because they will make a joke.
Chris Evans, Professor.
Chris Evans. Yeah, they could have so many jokes with that. So having him come back as Human Torch after all these years. And who's my third one? Who can come back as a third?
See, I would go for Snipes as Blade as well. Like, can you imagine? But for him,
he's the one who started it. He started it.
Yeah. But can you imagine him playing as an aged Blade? Like, don't try to kind of be Blade from back then. Like, be Blade now.
No.
Show him as aged. Show him as even just like the white hair or something. Like, can you imagine Snipes with like a white beard and white hair, like dressed up as Blade? Like, the guy would look sick. But yeah.
But I think to get the best pop, I think if Tobey Maguire was to appear in it, just so you can get Spidey and Deadpool together, Spidey pool. That would get a massive pop from the crowd, wouldn't it?
I don't know if Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man would be the right one. I think it would have to be
just for a cameo, just so you can have Spidey pool on the screen together. That's all I mean.
Yeah. Northern Nomad again in the comments has said about Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
There's all that talk this week, isn't there? So he's confirmed as being part of the MCU, hasn't he? Signed on and he's joined Marvel, but they've
Has
not
it-
disclosed.
I haven't seen anything official yet, and me and my brother were speaking about this a couple of weeks ago, and everybody's been saying Doctor Doom. I said Mr. Sinister because of his appearance and how he looked in
Ooh.
Argyle. And he's
Yeah.
got the physique for Mr. Sinister. But then we came to kind of decide to say Cyclops a couple of weeks ago, which is blowing up at the moment now.
Yeah.
And I think I could see him as Cyclops. I can
He's
see
got
him
the
as Cyclops, but
jawline.
Mr. Sinister. Yeah, Mr. Sinister, though. I'm
Sinister
sticking with
would
that.
be a good shout, man. That's
Yeah,
a
Mr.
good
Sinister.
shout.
Yeah.
That is a
I
really
can
good
see him as
shout.
that.
Like,
And I think he's a
yeah.
good bad guy. I mean, he showed us in was it Fallout, Mission Impossible. I was like, you know what? He's a good bad guy. I want to see him in more bad guy roles. So I know
Yeah.
Doctor Doom was on the table as well, but I just feel like Mr. Sinister, he could put on that smile, and yeah, he'd be good as Sinister. I think I did a little sketch, which is on my page, guys. Check it out. I did a little quick Sinister sketch. I can see it. I can definitely see that. I think Sinister, but if not, it'd be Cyclops. It looks like Cyclops.
Yeah,
Cyclops.
Doom would be too, because Doom's not meant to be a big buff guy though, is he either? If
No.
you're going comic book, especially from that
No.
the way they're going with that 1960s appeal, he just wouldn't look right. So
Exactly.
yeah, as either Cyclops or Sinister, that would be amazing casting.
Oh yeah, Sinister's a good shout. That is a good shout. It would work. Like they could get him into Deadpool easy enough because they've already talked about was it Essex House or something in like the
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
They
so
did
all
in that universe.
there, but obviously you would need to kind of explain it out to your general kind of Joe Public kind of casual fan, but for the deeper kind of comic book fans, the links have all been there, so it could kind of work.
Could work, definitely.
Yeah, man.
What X-Men would I bring back? Sorry, I didn't. I'm gonna go for Ian McKellen's Magneto. I need him back. I love him as Magneto. I'd love to see him back again. But then it's gonna be, oh man, I'm finding it hard. But Jean Grey and Cyclops as well. James Madsden and Frankie back again, definitely.
From the original film.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
that's a good shout. That is a good shout. Yeah, see, I would go like old. I'd go back to the beginning. I'd bring Blade in for sure.
Yeah.
Nick Cage's Ghost Rider just for comical appeal. Like the amount of quips that like Ryan Reynolds could have with Nick Cage's Ghost Rider.
God.
Like, and
you could almost hear Deadpool doing a Nick Cage impression back to him, can't you?
Yeah.
You could almost hear Deadpool going, "Why is he talking like that?"
It would. And then I don't know. I'd like something like left field, like I don't know, like Michael B. Jordan as Human Torch or something. Like, do you know what I mean? Just something totally out there. That
oh my god, that's
just doesn't make sense. And just if they're really gonna kind of play with the universal kind of all the different multiverses and that stuff, like pull someone in that is from something that wasn't as well favored to kind of, you know. So there we go. There you go. But that'd be my.
I like that movie though, by the way, just to let people know. I like that movie.
I didn't mind it. It wasn't my favorite, but like I've said at the beginning of the show, like it was a superhero film. I was like,
yeah, exactly. It's still watchable. It's still good. I like Miles Teller as Reed Richards. I thought he was really good. I felt like he had charisma in that role, and he really played the part. But then again, the script and everything else didn't really work well with it. But such a shame. But I still enjoyed it for what it was as well. Still.
Nah. So there we go. What other movie news we had this week? So we spoke a lot about DC Marvel, but there was some other stuff, right?
I don't know. Not a lot that I can see. Unless you can tell me otherwise.
No, I thought there was more.
Mainly all about the Crow. The Crow was the main talking line of the week.
It was.
The Crow, Superman. Anything else? No. Yeah, just Henry Cavill. I don't know if you guys saw the Iron Claw yet.
No, not cool yet.
So a wrestling movie is based on the Von Erich brothers and the Von Erich family, which was a really good film. I've seen it a couple of times now. Yeah, insane. I'm surprised it's not up for any awards or anything, but I think it came out at the wrong time or something like that. But absolutely awesome. I've seen Dune like already like 3 times. Dune
See,
Part Two, that was
see,
insane, dude. Like,
I've not got there yet. I've not got to the cinema and seen it. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I struggled with the first one a little bit. Like, it was one of them ones where I was kind of like, I've got to kind of watch. I've kind of got to, like, I need to see this and the rest of it. But yeah, so is it good? The second part?
it's insane, dude. I think for the people that enjoyed the books, they'll enjoy this, and I think that's exactly what the first movie is like. The first half of the first book, so you can
Yeah.
imagine how it's actually a 5-hour movie. Part two is just continuing that story of Paul's journey, but it's just what Denise does visually and how he brings his script in and how you connect with those characters. I mean, it's like almost the world is going for it now, but just told in a science fiction tale.
Yeah.
When Frank wrote these books, I don't think he'd ever visualize how it would look on the big screen like that. I
Mm.
think when David Lynch directed it back in the 80s, they had so many studio issues that it was just a hollow shell of a movie, which had
Yeah.
great interludes in it, but didn't have the core meaning of what Dune meant.
No.
This movie continues that serious epicness of it and Paul's journey as well. But it's like one of those. Well, how can I even explain this? It's like science fiction at its best, basically. For me personally, that's just me. Like I was in
Yeah.
awe. I could sit in the cinema for a day and just enjoy that movie. The sound was great. The visuals was great. In IMAX, you just engulfed in it all. So yeah, for me, it was really good. The first one is a slow burner. You know,
Yeah.
it's a 2.5-hour movie already, and you're not really getting where it's going to get to, and it cuts off in such a way. You're like, oh, is that how you're going to leave me? But they really amp it up in the second one, which
Yeah.
is the second half of the book, and then you're like, okay, this. Anybody who hasn't read the book, you'll kind of get it in what they do in this one. So it's a cinematic epic. It's one of those best movies of the year for me personally.
And best popcorn bucket of the year as well.
Yeah,
So
I've been.
Oh yeah.
that popcorn bucket. Did you see all the? Did you see the screen? Is it Screen Rant? They did the
Yeah.
joke video this week where the
Yeah.
guys, it's all these creepy guys going, "I need the bucket, hold the popcorn, but put the butter in it."
I was like, surely, like, someone in production must have, like in design production, must have looked at it and gone, yeah, we're gonna have issues with this. Like, this is someone somewhere must have said something. Like,
They miss out.
I refuse to believe, or they just went, yeah, go for it. It'll go viral. It's fine. Like, just go for it. It'll go viral. Yeah, it's I don't know. But you've been to loads of movie premieres, haven't you? Like, you get invited everywhere, Gibbs. Like, you know, I'm not gonna lie. It's like a little bit of a little bit of jealousy. I'm like, oh, he's another one. It's another one. Like, this is cool. This is cool. But you met some good people. You met some like decent people at movies, haven't you? Like,
Yeah, no, definitely have. Yeah.
who's your favorite? Come on, put you on the spot. Who's your favorite to meet?
Nothing's gonna beat The Rock, you know. No,
The guy-
wait. Sorry. Yeah, The Rock. Ah, that's so hard. Michael J. Fox and The Rock, those two. I'll have to put them as one. Yeah.
Michael J. Fox for me that would be everything. But like, is Dwayne The Rock Johnson as nice in person as he comes across?
Yeah, he is. He just brings that wrestling. He's got that charisma always with him. Like,
And he's just
yeah,
huge. Like, I knew
large
he was a
as well.
big dude, but watching him walk into the room and just be around you all, I was like, man, that guy looks like they look like we're doing the Lord of the Rings kind of, like, you know, like, just to everyone.
I'm 5'2", so you can imagine. I was like, this guy's, you know, the Gandalf just walked in the room, and you're like, oh my god, this guy is human. Like, you can watch somebody on TV and say, oh my god, he's massive. You watch it in a film, he's massive. In real life, and you're like, oh my god, he's gonna crush my hand when I go to shake his hand. Like, this guy is humongous. Like, and he's like towering, but some people just bring a vibe with them, and he's always done that, and he did that in wrestling as well. He knows how to control a room.
Yeah.
And I think that's what some people can do, but he's got a really good demeanor about him, because I remember when he did walk in the room, none of us knew he was going to walk in the room,
Oh wow.
and all you heard was like, what are these lovely, beautiful people doing in this room? And I looked around and I was like, oh my god, who is that? Like, because he was in this purple like kind of pajama set, and I was like, oh my god, that's The Rock. And the kid just jumped out at me. I was like, oh my god, you
Yeah.
watch them on wrestling and you watch them in films, and I don't know, it was just, but he was really nice. He really, like, I was nervous as crazy as it is, and I'm always nervous. So it's never something you get used to. It's nervous every time you do something. It's always there. But he was really nice. He was kind, quite inspiring. Like, for me, it was like a moment of where I felt like all the hard work I've done over the past couple of years, kind of that moment was payment for me. But he brings the hype, honestly. Some of the clips like we've got, he just brings the hype with him, and it's like I could just, like, all we saw as kids there in that area was him at the edge of the ring, just screaming and shouting at the crowd, and it was like we're watching one of our wrestling heroes here. Great guy, very inspiring. It does give you that kind of push to say, you know what, I think I'm doing the right thing to be meeting the right people here.
Yeah, man.
And he spent time with us. We went to the premiere for Black Adam as well, and he was really catering, and you got the after party after, and you're like, oh my god, this is insane. I'm partying with The Rock here. This is not every day. Like, what is going on? But he's probably one of the most inspiring people I've met. But Michael J. Fox just levels that as well, the same level. Michael J. Fox is just such a charming dude, man. It's like, met him at the 30th anniversary of Back to the Future when he was here in the UK, and I did some artwork for the 30th anniversary, and they were like, would you like to meet him? And I was like, excuse me, who? What? Michael J. Fox. I thought I was just there just to give the artwork away. I did not know I was going to meet him. I was so nervous. I was shaking, and he's got Parkinson's, so we were both shaking together. So he's like, just chill. It's all right. It's fine. Don't worry. You're okay. And I'm like, I can't stop shaking. He goes, I know, I've got the same problem. And I was like, my God, how do you do that? Like, he's got this continuous sort of, he's got good punchlines every time. Like, even though I was nervous, he really made me feel comfortable in that moment. But what an inspirational dude, man. Michael J. Fox. Oh my God. Yeah, that was insane.
He was just like he's the action hero, the film star of the 80s, early 90s. Like, like Michael J. Fox just has it all. Like, yeah, he's one I'd love to meet. It really was. It's funny what you say about like the seeing people in person stuff, because I've talked about when I worked as an extra on Age of Ultron. Yeah. And when I obviously I met a handful of them and the rest of it. And when Chris Hemsworth walked out, I was like, I get it. That's fine. Like, I think I totally see what they all been saying. Questioning my own sexuality right now. Like, it was like, right, have I just been living a lie because this man is a god? Like, he just walked out, just had this thing about him, and he just was Thor, and he was just a super really nice guy as well. So it's like, I do get it.
But sometimes it happens. People do say, don't meet your heroes. I've met a couple of people and I was like, that was very uncomfortable. And like, it didn't go, you don't really plan how it's going to go. And you don't know what the other person's going through as well. So you can't be overpowering in something like that. But I remember meeting somebody and I was like, oh, dude, I'm so sorry I caught you at the wrong time. Like, I felt bad because he was in a bad mode. And I was like, I'm just going to leave it there before I ruin this moment even more, and kind of left it there. So it's important to know what that person is going through as well. I think I used to work for Jessup's, the camera company, and I met Andy Serkis, and he was like really in, like, he had his hat really low, he had his scarf over his face, but I looked at him and I was like, oh my God, I just watched, like, I think it was Planet of the Apes, the first one, and I was like, that's Andy Serkis. And because of the way he was, I was like, oh, you know what? He really wants to not let nobody know he's in the shop behind the camera. Let me leave him to it. But really nice. He was really nice, and he thanked me after as well, because he goes, somebody, most people would have just jumped at like, oh, could I get this sign, please? And as soon as you do that, there's a massive crowd around you. Who's that? Who's that? So I suppose you have, depending on the situation and where you are, you have to gauge how that is. And no, definitely.
Yeah, Lee Francis was a lot like that when I went to a Star Wars launch a good few years back now. I went to it was for the Propel helicopter Star Wars things. And I got invited down to London to go to the launch of it, and I didn't even recognize him. Because obviously, like normally he's dressed up as Keith Lemon, or he's in character. He was just there as himself, and like you say, he was there with a scarf and a hat real low, and he was like trying not to be recognized. And I'm stood at the side of him. You look at someone and you do a double take, like fucking Keith Lemon. Like, I couldn't think of his real name, and I'm like, please don't call Keith Lemon to his face. Like, he was such a chill dude, but yeah, he was high. He was trying to hide that night.
You know what? It's for that reason as well. I don't do when I do like I'm like you, MCM. I love it. I've been going for years and years. Been really lucky the last few years to go like with Hasbro and stuff, but I've never done a huge amount of like the meet and greets because they've had some phenomenal guests there. But there's things like they had like the Smallville one, like they had like Tom Welling, like about 4 or 5 of the before the cast, yeah. And I was like, oh, but I'm very, very few and far between do the meet and greets because it is that kind of they're there, aren't they? They're there. It's like a cattle line, a production line and stuff. The only one I've done in recent years was bizarrely Jason David Frank back in 2018, I think it was, and my kids got it for me as a present, and I was like, they were like, oh, we know you love Power Rangers, but like the Green Ranger's there, and like we got you this and I was like, oh yeah. So I was like, I want to meet this guy, but I don't want to queue up and meet this guy. But I was stood in line, and I'm just there like late 30s at the time, sort of stood there, my X-Men t-shirt or something, like just waiting in line. And in front of me is this dude that's like 10 years older than me in full Green Ranger outfit. Behind me, there is this dude that's like 20 years older than me in full White Ranger outfit. And I just thought, this guy's got it bad today. Like this is awful. Like I can't imagine kind of trying to keep that energy like over and over again, and just kind of like seeing all these people and like how they do it. Like it's phenomenal. But he's
great though, wasn't he?
He was a lovely guy.
He's lovely, isn't it? Yeah, he carries that energy with him really well, man. Rest in power, man. He when I met him a couple of years back as well, he same energy, and you kind of think he's seen thousands of people. Like, how is he keeping this up? And there are some. Tom Welling was actually really nice because I did that. Yeah.
Did you?
Erica, who played Lois Lane in Smallville, was sorry to out you, but she wasn't. And I was like, oh, you don't do this enough. That's why. But you could see who's going to bring that sort of element to it, and most of them, they know they're getting paid, so they'll bring that hype. But some people just loved it. David Frank, he loved it. He absolutely loved his fans. He showed a lot of love to his fans. So I got respect for him, definitely.
He was great, and it's just I don't know what I expected. Like I don't know whether I expected to go around and see him in like a slingshot, like a sling green, like kind of like vest and like a headband or something. But I turned around the corner and the dude was dressed sharp. He was in a suit. He had his hair all done, and I'm like, here's me in like a pair of tracksuit bottoms and an X-Men t-shirt. Like you're like, what? I didn't know we were dressing up. Like I didn't get the memo. But no, I was really, and then obviously, afterwards I was kind of like, you know what, I'm really pleased that I took that opportunity and that was gifted to me because obviously, wouldn't get that chance again. But I'll tell you what, the best person I think I've ever met, hands down, ever met, is JRJR, like the artist.
Yes.
Did you see him when he was at MCM?
Yes.
And he was.
You saw that queue, right?
Yeah, and I stood in that queue, and he was signing for free, like for free.
He took the money to charity.
Yeah, that was it. All he asked was a donation to charity, and I got to the front of the queue, and he gave time, like, and I'm sure you had the similar experience. Gave time, chatted, took photos, signed as much as you wanted, was turning people away that were clearly just signing bulk things for and then took the money to charity. And I was like, you know what? You have lived up and exceeded my expectations for what an artist is.
So I can't believe we haven't crossed paths. So
I can't even Gibbler, man.
I know. So Frank Miller was there, and I remember getting that VIP ticket to meet Frank Miller. But they had probably all the artists from America there, and they had like Tim Sale, Andy Kubert, and like Chris Claremont was there. Oh my god, just amazing amount. But John Romita Jr., oh my god, that for me, basically the first day, his queue was so big that every time I queued up, by the time it got to 6 o'clock, he had gone. I bought ticket the following day, and then the following day I met him on Sunday after. But I was like, he can't leave the UK until I meet this guy.
Yeah.
But he gave the time to everybody. It was absolutely amazing, and he brought that energy. I think he's one of those guys that brings the energy with him as well. He absolutely smashed it. He gave me a little Punisher drawing. I love it.
He gave me one as well. He gave me
Yeah.
he signed one of my Batman blank covers and he drew a little Batman on it. But there was one comic book I had Amazing Spider-Man issue 500 that I picked up when I was living out in New York, and I got it from Midtown Comics, and they had most of the artists and writers and stuff at Midtown doing a signing.
Yeah.
But his name is credited to it, but he wasn't there. So I took that one along and he signed it at the time. So I kind of like completed that.
Awesome.
Got all the power coins kind of thing. But yeah, no, he was a good guy. He was a good guy. But sorry, we've gone on a comic book tangent.
Yeah, yes, we did. Sorry.
The best person I ever met was Jason Mewes. Jason Mewes, the soundest guy on the planet. He was so nice.
Oh my god, that's another one. Kevin Smith. How can I not have Kevin Smith there?
Oh, I need to get to Liverpool. I need to get to Liverpool this year because they're both together. They got Jay and Silent Bob together. So I need to meet both of them.
Oh my god, Kevin Smith! I met. I can't remember which one was the one he bought out. Not Clutch Free. The one before that, the reboot, Jay and Silent Bob reboot.
Silent Bob reboot.
Yeah, that's when I met him at a press junket, and I was just about to have my daughter at that time, and like he's one of those guys that I've always looked up to, and that sort of after Stan Lee, he was the next guy. But
yeah,
like, he gave me some great advice when I met him there. It turned into like an emotional interview after. We just started talking about dad stuff, and I was like, look man, I'm entering this world, I don't know what to do. I've stopped smoking weed. How do you do this still? And he was like giving me all of this info, and I was like, you know what, I was tearing up, and he was like, why are you tearing up? Why are you getting emotional? And I'm like, I can't believe I've had this moment with you. So you know what, to see that, there you go again, Michael J. Fox, The Rock, and Kevin Smith. Sorry, those I'll count them as one.
Fair play. But no, you met Jason Mewes a while back, didn't you, Sorrell?
Yeah, it was at MCM when I got invited down to MCM London to meet, because I was meeting Miss Mindy, the artist from Disney. I was doing like a competition with Miss Mindy, and while I was down there, I saw that Jason Mewes was doing a meet and greet, and I was like, I must meet this man. So I remember because I was allowed in early, because I was obviously doing the Miss Mindy thing. I was in early with all the traders and that, and I literally just sat on the ground and waited in front of the stand that said Jason Mewes here. And like I just sat there like, I'm waiting for 9 o'clock. I'll sit here all day.
That's
so
awesome.
I sat there like 2 hours just to meet the man. But yeah, it was a really nice guy when I got to meet him. It was so nice.
Yeah, it is funny, isn't it? It's bizarre, like how, like Comic Cons in general, just the fact that there's all these kind of things. Like MCM just gone in October. Like I was gutted because Ryan Otley was there, like Invincible, and I didn't get a chance to. And the queue for him wasn't very big, and I was like, he was one of the ones on my list to kind of go and see. But I was talking to Jason Page, who was the singer, the guy who does the Pokemon theme tune, and he just like top geezer, and I'm like, it's mad that like my boys sing your song and I'm here chatting to you. Like this is mind blowing. Like, but yeah, it's a funny old world. But I'm just looking forward to seeing what they announce in October.
Yeah, Jason, it was really funny. I got to meet him when at Sheffield, when he did the Sheffield Unleashed event, and everyone else were asking him to sing the Pokemon theme song, and I was the only person like, no, sing Viridian City. Come on, sing the other one. You did another one, Jay. You got another one in here. And he's like, you're the only person requesting this song, but we'll sing it. Let's go over like on the way to Viridian City. I'm like,
dude can sing as well. Like he's seriously can sing.
Well, he's toured with like Michael Jackson, and there's so many people. He's got a massive career. He's not just a guy for Pokemon. He's got a massive career behind him.
The bizarre thing about that as well is that he literally got paid a flat fee for that. Like he didn't like get royalties and stuff off it. Like it was just a gig, and he got paid like his flat fee and stuff. Like so, there's this huge song that he doesn't benefit from. Like
looks like the Power Rangers theme song. It was one dude who made it overnight. they made it in a rush because they needed to get a song to give to Fox to put out the idea of the show. And they come up with the whole Go Power Rangers overnight. That is insane. And that's one of the most recognizable songs on the planet. And it was one dude that made it overnight on a piano, on a keyboard.
That's I'll tell you what, talking about theme song, that's one of them theme songs. When I hear it, I'm just transported. But you know what I've worked out recently as well, and Kibbs, me and Sorrell have talked about this. I don't know if you're kind of revisiting that retro vibe or whatever, but Gladiators on a Saturday night, right? When that tune drops, like, I won't let my wife and kids put it on until I'm in the room, because I'm like, no, I need to hear the theme tune, because that theme tune pumps me up.
It's so true.
And I'm like, yeah,
it's
like,
so true.
Yeah,
it's music, man. That deeper connection, isn't it? It's like when they released the X-Men '97 trailer, we knew it was coming. We knew it was coming, but just hearing it a little bit, like they did it in Doctor Strange, they did it in Miss Marvel, and you're like, oh my god, my heart's pumping, it's gonna come. And when he goes meet, my X-Men, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna cry. And they play the song, you're like, oh my god, this is insane. What is it about this theme song that drives me crazy? Like John Carpenter did something in the 80s and 90s with his music. That guy is just full of talent, and like every one of his soundtracks, they land so well. So I know when I hear a John Carpenter movie playing, that it's him who did the soundtrack as well. So I think it's the nostalgia of that is just what, as you said, it transports you. Like Gladiator, as soon as I hear it, same thing. Like I want to hear that theme song before I watch it. If I don't watch it, why would you even put the skip? Like when they do it on Disney Plus, do you want to skip the intro? No, I don't. I want to hear all of it. Let it go, run through. I want to hear all of it.
It's funny, X-Men '97, because we had Steve Evans from Hasbro, who does like all Marvel stuff. Like he's a friend of ours, like fan of the show. Like he's been on like 3 or 4 times now. And last time he was on, we were talking about X-Men '97, and he dropped that he had seen the intro, and then was like, "Oh, hang on, no, like keep going." And obviously, we didn't see the intro in that trailer, so to know that intro is kind of out there and significant enough for him to go, I saw the intro, like that's what I'm really excited for.
We're on about there's been no trailer yet. Because I said there's been no trailer yet, and he went, hasn't there? And he sort of stopped for a minute, and he's like, you could see him like racking his brain. And then he thought, no, I should have said that.
Yeah.
Oh no, bless him.
But no, it is one. So what have you thrown up on the screen, buddy? I can see something.
Yeah, so the only other bit of movie news was this picture from out of Disney for the new Tron Eras movie, which is a continuation of the Tron franchise, but no idea if Olivia Wilde's going to be coming back or anything like that. No idea if there's going to be any reprising cast members. Obviously, Kurt Russell was obviously in the original movie. He was in the sequel. Is he going to come back for this one? I'd hope
so. Jeff Bridges.
Sorry, Jeff Bridges.
They do look similar, so I'll make that mistake.
But yeah, both the other films. I mean, it'd be a crime if he didn't come back for this one.
He's got to be back. He's got to be back. He's got to be back.
That picture looks good, though. I'm intrigued by that.
Put it this way, they must be putting a lot of money on this because they built a ride in Florida based on it, and it's not even out yet. So that tells you everything that Disney's doing with that. They put all the tokens in one basket there.
The only other bit of big movie news going on, I suppose, before as we kind of get into the tail end of the show, is Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire. We've seen more trailers drop now. We've seen like the final trailer. We've seen like the short trailer and stuff. Where we at? Where we at with thoughts? What do you think?
I'm excited.
Yeah,
I'm excited. Bit scared because I thought Afterlife was really good. And I was happy for them to leave it there.
Yeah.
Because that tribute at the end, I don't think, nobody left with like a dry eyes there. That was
that hit
a really
hard.
Great tribute. That really, like, literally, when I saw that hand come up on that, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe they're going to do this. Even like you kind of knew he was there. Most of the story tells you that he's there.
Yeah.
But it was that moment that just, I was like, oh, I think it was perfect the way they left it.
Yeah.
But I'm always excited to see my favorite characters to come back on the big screen, Bill Murray playing that character, Ernie Hudson, Dan Aykroyd, just to see them back again in the suits. I think they released a trailer with Janine recently, and she's wearing a suit as well. So you're like, okay, it's that nostalgia thing. It's that kid that comes back out every time you watch something like that. So I'm gonna be hyped for it, but I do get a little bit scared sometimes.
Yeah. There's a little bit of fear there, isn't there, that they're going to mess it up. But I don't know. I'm quite hyped by it. I think it looks good. Like Ghostbusters is one of them ones for me. Like I was all about the Ghostbusters in the 80s. Like anything Ghostbuster related, I'm like, yep, not sign me up. That's it. I'm cool. I'm all over it. But yeah, it did feel like the last one, like Afterlife, was very much like a closing.
It felt close. Yeah, it was. It did feel it, and because they rerouted back to the original first one as well with Gozer, and you're like, it felt like it was nicely ended. So it'd be interesting where they want to take it. Now that it's his son. I mean, he did directed the last one. I feel like he just pays more respect to the source material.
Yeah,
and I think that's what happened with. I think what was the Ghostbusters that came out with.
The female-led one.
The female-led one. When did that come out?
What was it called?
It was called Ghostbusters, but
Answer the Call.
Answer the Call. That's it.
Oh yes, that's right. Answer the Call. Like it's very difficult. I think with the amount of we've got 60 plus years of Ghostbusters stories out there, and you're kind of thinking you've got the mythology there. Why couldn't you use that? You don't have to use the exact same thing, but just use elements that just keep the audience, because you keep the old fans still hooked to it, and you bring in the new fans as well. And it's like that with all the comic book movies. They're going to introduce things like that. So yeah, my fear is that, are they going to use... I know a lot of Ghostbusters fans, and they've already got their theories, and they were telling me about, the proton packs and what they're using and how they're using it. I'm like, how did you even get that from the trailer? But when you're a fan, you just know it. Like, there's a director I know, his name's Rob. He builds his proton packs, but he lives in Cleveland, but he gets everything ordered from the UK. There's actually a really cool company in the UK that build all the parts for the movie replicas. They sound and look amazing. And then I know what Hasbro bought out, and I'm like, oh my god, do I do it? Do I do it? Another one for the collection?
It was one of them ones that I going to the Hasbro booth at MCM on in October. They had the trap and the meter. And I'm like, no, I didn't get the pack, so I'm not going to bother with that. And then I saw it in hand, and I was like, man, this is good. This is good. The reason I ask, and Beth said in the comments here, that one of the things that they've mentioned is that all the ghosts that they've previously caught are now back. Like they've all been released. So
I'm guessing. Go on.
I was going to say, it sounds like it could be a car wreck. Like, do you know what I mean? But at the same token, if I had read on paper what they did in Afterlife, like the tribute at the end, if I'd read that on paper, I would have gone, no, that's awful. That's going to tank. But seeing it worked.
I think it's more cameos than they're all in it. I think it's more of they're just cameoing, because I believe, from what I understand, that the big bad in this is going to destroy the firehouse, and obviously that'll take out the place where they store all the ghosts. That'll release them, because it says in the trailer that he needs energy from all the other ghosts in New York. So the best way to do that is take out the Ghostbusters place, take out the grid, and that'll release all the ghosts. Right, so I'm guessing all the ghosts from the previous films will have a little cameo of them flying out of the little thing, and that's where we'll see like the librarian ghost, probably the taxi driver, and so there'll be a few little cameos, and then that's where Slimer comes from, I'm guessing.
I'm thinking more big bads though, like Marshmallow Man and what's his name?
Well, no, because Marshmallow Man was Gozer. That was Gozer's form, so I don't. Gozer's gone now.
Supposedly, yes.
He was the Destroyer, wasn't it? The Destroyer was all to do with Gozer. So anything to do with the Terror Dogs, Gozer, Stay Puft, that's all interlocked with Gozer's story. Gozer's gone now.
Good shout.
Very good. Yeah.
The big bad in this one is literally death itself, isn't it? More or less, it's like the idea of this thing can chill you to death, basically scare you to death, is what they say in the trailer.
So we're not going to see any purple like rivers.
I don't think so. But you never know. There might be sneaking in there.
Do you know what?
You might get a toaster jumping around again.
That's fine. The one thing that I'm really pleased about this is that it does look like they're they're expanding it, like because we've seen different people in jumpsuits and different colored jumpsuits and stuff like that. So I think that they're going to make it more that Ghostbusters is more of an international thing as opposed to it's just 4 guys in a fire station, because obviously we saw Winston's character, Ernie Hudson, at the end of the last one. He's like made big bucks and everything, and he's bought the firehouse. So I think he's kind of franchised the Ghostbusters in some way, and we're going to see that kind of come to life in this one. Because can you imagine at the end of this whether there's a lineup of like 15, 16 different like fractions of Ghostbusters?
That'd be interesting to see where they go with that. Definitely.
I just think it'd be wicked. I think it'd be wicked. I really do. I think that would be my hope. That'd be my hope to just kind of expand that universe. But
that'd be insane. That'd be cool. Definitely be cool.
I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but I'm hoping to find a way of linking in with like Kate McKinnon or something and having a little cameo with her. Because I know it's not everyone's favorite movie, but the female-led Ghostbusters film, it is a little secretly pleasure of mine. I could put that movie on and enjoy it every time. Never not laugh at Chris Hemsworth with his glasses with no lenses in. That always amuses me. So I mean, but like, I can just imagine them doing a scene where where they're making the gadgets and stuff, and they've somehow linked in with her from across another universe, like across the multiverse kind of thing.
They're going to go that way.
It'd be interesting to see if that could work. That could work.
Like Egon was the guy that made all the gadgets, and now he's gone. So I mean, like they need someone new to make the gadget. So I mean, she would be a perfect cameo to bring in as like the tech person.
The reason I say though that I'd like to see that kind of that franchising element of it, because like people in the comments are going like yes or no, like there's different people saying different things, but all the kind of fan groups of Ghostbusters are kind of they're based on their location. So there'll be the XYZ 1, 2, 3 faction of Ghostbusters, and they go out and they do the parties and all that kind of stuff. But by doing that in the movie, it kind of makes all of these fans that have had like lifelong kind of hobbies and it makes them kind of canon.
That's right. Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right.
Have such a good way of just validating all of these fans, because then all of a sudden they become part of that bigger universe. So yeah, that's my thoughts. We are getting well close to the end of the show though. So Kibler, before we do go, anyone in the comments and watching the show, whether it's now or on repeat, that don't know you, where's the best place to find you and follow your stuff? Tell them a little bit about
definitely, guys. I'm on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, X, formerly known as Twitter. On all socials, if you type in the Brothers Geek Out podcast, you'll find us there. And then we're streaming on all platforms as well for the podcast as well. So Apple, Amazon, Spotify, check it out there. And we do again a weekly podcast with odd episodes with guests on, and we talk about pop culture, men's mental health, and everything geeky.
Yeah, I love it. It's good. It's definitely a good podcast. Definitely 100% recommend. It's been awesome having you though, dude. Like, thank you so much for kind of jumping on board and joining us this week. It's always good to physically have those conversations, like
definitely
through the text and stuff. So
exactly. No, thanks. Thank you for having me on, guys. Honestly.
No, we appreciate it. Sorrell, anything that you want to add before we kind of round up this week?
No.
Always do this, yeah.
You always do this. You always put me on the spot. I've got no idea what to say.
Right at the end.
No, like I say, this week I've got I have got the exclusive of the Star Wars Unlimited card game. That's coming out on Friday. Check it out. Other than that, no, not got a lot else going on.
No, perfect. Cool. Gibbs, hang around. We'll say goodbye properly after the credits roll. Everyone that's been watching, thank you very much for commenting along and watching wherever it is that you're watching. Doesn't matter as long as you are. That's the main thing. Do go and check out Gibbs over at the Brothers Geek Out podcast. As I said, very, very cool podcast. And there, that's about it. Thanks very much for joining this week, buddy. Let's roll the credits and we'll see you next week. So if you are watching on Catch Up, of course, let us know. Hashtag Catch Up Crew. Until then, keep it geek.
Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and of course subscribe. Tune in next week for another live show. Until then, keep it geek. Stay up to date at www.geekweekinreview.co.uk.